we're with the Vipers. Well, we're with the entertainment, and this is FOG, bringing you the ride. This is going to be the ride of your life. But yeah, we're not going to be claiming whiplash. We're not going to be suing anybody, even if Paulie is a cheap-ass skate. Welcome back to the channel. Are you ready? Are you not entertained? Because I'm entertained.
I'm ready. I'm entertained. I'm ready to go.
He's ready to go, but we begin. We are in preparation for the annual feast of Elazar of Sebri. We've got Paulie. We've got Patsy. And basically, Paulie goes a bit cheap. We know he's a cheapskate. He's in charge of this. It's not as profitable as it used to be under Johnny Soprano back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. But Paulie is refusing to pay $50,000 here to the new priest in order to get the golden hat for the guy. And you know what? As much as he's a cheapskate, I actually agree with him here. $50,000 just to put a hat on the guy. Like, yo, maybe $50,000, right, to Paulie and the Soprano crew is like chump change, because I think it is. But $50,000 is still a lot of money. Like, let's not pretend that he should spend this.
It's a lot of cash.
Like, this priest's an absolute joke, by the way. What? He wants 50 large ones just so they can stick a hat on the statue? That's absolutely bang out of order from him, right? Supposed to be a man of God, giving back to the community. I mean, I get it. He's playing hardball with the mob, and the mob can't really kill a man of God, a man of the cloth, but I think if Paulie just whipped out the pistol here and dropped them right in the church, I think it would have been fair enough.
How would you put that past Paulie either, to be honest, especially for some money? Paulie thought he was getting a bad deal.
Absolutely not. We then cut to Chris. He's watching Saw 2. I think the guy actually was called Stephen that got killed in the first trap, the Venus fly trap. But he turns it off because some woman we've never seen before enters his room and says, "I'm pregnant." Dun, dun, dun. She thinks Chris is going to take this bad. He doesn't. Obviously, Adriana couldn't really get pregnant, so he sees this as something great, and he says, fuck it, let's go to Atlantic City and get married. They get married, he then tells everyone at the bada bing, and then they purchase a large house, which Chris is like, as long as it's got an inside, we're buying it. This went from 0 to 100 real quick. I actually did a bit of research. This is Kelly's first episode, and it's like, I'm not saying we need a full season of build-up, right, for this Kelly character, but Jesus Christ, this is a Sopranos to a T. This introduces someone for the first scene and Chris marries her. I get it. The whole gimmick is that it's impulsive and it's out of the blue. But why not introduce her like 2 episodes ago? Just so we know who it is.
Yeah, I think Sopranos are really bad at this stuff.
Like, people will argue, right? You know, the fanboys and the people that stick their nose right up David Chase's arse and fucking Tony Soprano's arse will be like, oh, but that's the whole point. You know, it's a surprise to the viewer as it is the crew. But no, right? If he marries her after 2 weeks of dating, that would... Well, maybe they've been going out for 2 weeks.
Yeah, but it wasn't just... It's not just like this one particular story where they've introduced a woman that he can marry quickly to get the point across. We see it with characters all the time. Important characters that you've never heard before. And then they literally just appear to get wiped out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like they don't do a good job of building up people. Kind of just throw them on your TV screen.
Yeah, and this is just it to the max. But anyway, we see Tony and Chris. They go to Pennsylvania. They're sealing some sort of business deal. They then steal a bunch of wine for a couple of bikers. We're with the Vipers. I mean, is the Sopranos just burying biker culture, or... I mean, I tell you what, right? If Tony and Chris didn't have plot armor here, this could have ended very fucking differently.
Yeah, I mean...
It just seemed fucking reckless.
Didn't seem like a Tony thing to do.
Like, I get it, that was old school fucking A sort of shit, but it's like...
Tony put himself in the firing line?
They're supposed to be on, like, a low-risk business adventure, and these guys were getting into a gunfight. Like, what happens if, like, you know, it smashed the back window? Hell... Chris could have got killed. He said he near shot himself. The bullet skimmed him. He managed to drop one. They then drink. Tony basically forces Chris into drinking. I mean, you're never really forced, but Tony was basically like, you're not really a man if you don't take a drink of this 1986 wine, my friend. So he takes a drink. They get pissed. Tony sprains his ankle. Chris is then reminiscing about that night when he told Tony about Adriana. We then cut to the flashback of that. I thought it was a pretty good scene here between Tony and Chris in the flashback, but... probably like the only truly, like, you know, scene in this episode that mattered. I thought the rest of it was mainly Phil Leotaro. I thought it was mainly Phil. But we cut to the feast. Tony and Phil work out this deal on this like shipment of vitamins, and basically, essentially, what happens is they don't want to tell Johnny Sack. Phil puts it out there. Tony feels it out, and he's like, you know what, actually, Phil, knowing big Johnny Sack's current situations, maybe we shouldn't bother him with this. So I thought it was pretty good between those two. But that's all we've seen of Phil. I think Phil's really good. And he is in every episode, but he's getting about 3 minutes here and there. Do you not think we need Phil in most more episodes?
Yeah, no, we do, especially if he's going to be the main man, the antagonist in this season. It's hard to build a guy when he's only here and there and everywhere.
Maybe we'll get more, but essentially what Chris does next, basically just takes drugs for the guy, who helped set up the Rusty kill. He injects it into... I hate seeing people take blood out their vein, man, and put heroin or whatever the hell he's putting into him, man. Turns my stomach, but Chris then sits down with a stray dog and he pets it, and it was getting a bit weird, and then he woke up. So Chris, after being good for so long, is back on the gear. Will this spell a disaster for Chris' sacrifice? I mean, it could, but what do you make of the Christopher Moltisanti character? Is he good? Is he shit? Is this just always a junkie, once a junkie, always a junkie, or would you have preferred him just to stay clean?
I would have preferred him to stay clean because I think he's had multiple chances now, and I thought after the Adriana shit, I thought he'd straightened that out, but...
Yeah, it's like, I mean, they try and get you to this episode, Tony's the one, he got him to have a wee drink of the wine, and that's why he's on the gear, but we've seen him a couple of episodes ago.
I mean, he kind of does remind me a little bit of Jesse Pinkman.
Yeah. People compare the two, who's better for you?
Better in what? Better character or better... I don't know, I think Jesse Pinkman gets a lot more screen time than Chris, doesn't it? I think Breaking Bad's a better written show than The Sopranos. Who do you think's a better person?
They're both weird, but
probably Jesse into it. Like, I mean,
Jesse is probably Jesse's undoubtedly the better person. But I prefer Christopher as a character. I don't know. Jesse ratted, that set me the wrong way. I don't think Chris has done anything like that to this point.
No, but I mean, they're just both not really trustworthy, are they? Like, when it comes to staying clean and not fucking up.
Like, The Sopranos, right, it's gave Tony a lot of screen time, right? And it's gave Chris a lot as well. He's probably like the guy in second place in terms of screen time. But I feel like they could have done a lot more with Chris.
We've seen, they both had highs and they both had lows.
Literally. We then see the ride. We see the ride. So basically, Bobby... His family, Janice goes on it, his son's on it, he's no happy because he's that age, he's 15, he doesn't want to be seen with the 2-year-old, he doesn't want to be seen on the teacup, so who could fucking blame him. It is like the slowest crash of all time, and Janice Bacalieri is acting here like she was involved in like some Formula 1 400 G-force crash into a wall. I actually cannot fucking stand Janice.
Yeah, she's a detestable person, isn't she? Like?
Right, and you know what? I think this is completely and utterly forced from the writing, right? See Bobby, why in the fuck would he marry Janice? He is too nice of a guy, and he's also not the kind of guy to marry Janice to get in with Tony. You can, like, Richie did that to get at Tony. You could argue Bobby married her because she was nice to his kids. I don't like it. To me, they are two polar fucking opposites.
Would Bobby have did it as a favour to Tony, maybe?
I mean, maybe, but I just can't stand Janice, man. It is like Livia 2.0.
She does take after her mother.
And that's one person we could not stand.
Now the other Soprano sister doesn't seem that bad, but you see her like once every 2 seasons, so...
Barbara's no bad. Bobby then beats up the ride director. He then points the blame in Paulie's direction, who at this point is receiving biopsy results. Apparently he could have cancer, but we don't really know. He runs into his mum. He tells her to fuck off. But we'll get back to that at the end of the episode. Bobby then confronts Paulie, tells him, "Oh, cocksucker." Oh! It was pretty good oath for Paul. He does have some pretty iconic oaths, but I mean, what's his beef? Who knows? Christopher then has his bachelor party after the wedding, which is just fucking retarded if you ask me. Tony then sets Paulie straight. He basically tells him, "Right, son, you need to sort this beef between you and Bobby out." Paulie's like, "Oh, T, you take a lot of the money at this fair, it's no worth it." He's like, "Sorry, T, I got a lot on my mind." Paulie always backs down for Tony, man. He's a pathetic bastard. Anyway, Tony says you squash it. How much money does Paulie owe Bobby? Who really fucking knows at this stage of the game?
Why can't Paulie just stick to his guns and say, "Here, Tony, I think you're being unfair here, Tony"?
Yeah.
Why does he call... It's almost like he calls him out and then looks to see if Tony's going to accept it. And if he sees like any hint of like Tony being pissed, he'll just didn't mean it, Tone. Alarm my pressure.
Yeah, and then Paulie goes to see his aunt. I guess it's not really his mum anymore. And then that ended the episode. We did see Tony and Carmella discuss what happened to Adriana, but Tony lies through his teeth. Does she think any differently? Probably not, but it's just so fucking naive for Carmella. It's like, yeah, you might believe that Adriana left, right? But like, see when Tony's talking about, do you really think, if Chris did it, they wouldn't have found DNA and they wouldn't have arrested him by now? It's like,
how many people's Tony killed and they've not found DNA?
Yeah, Carmella's been around the block, right? She's done, probably married like 20 years at this stage of the game. It's like,
it's not like she's just gone with Tony for 3 months.
How fucking naive would she be to think that this crew hasn't killed people before?
And got away with it.
Yeah. And I get it, right? She does kind of have plausible deniability. It's not like Tony's ever really openly talked about the murders he's committed, right? But it's like, why would she even press Tony about this Adriana thing?
Maybe that's the problem. Maybe in this line of work you need somebody. No, the way this, like, I remember Jax used to say to Tara, you need to be all in or not in at all. It's like, how can you? I don't know how you can live both of these lives and the two of them don't interact.
Yeah.
Like how you look at the like Tony's life, look at Jax's life. It's impossible for you not to bring that life back into your home.
I mean, the mob do have a rule where families are off limits, but made guys and associates are on limits, so to speak. So I guess with the mob, you could argue it's a wee bit different. The families don't really ever get targeted, but end of the day, you're right, man. It's like, I think it's just a fucking idiotic question for Carmella. But you know what, Tony, he dealt with it pretty well. But that was the episode. It was kind of...
What happens if Tony tells the truth?
Her arse probably folds, doesn't it?
Would she really be shocked, though?
I don't think so, no. And also, but then what would she do?
Is she going to turn into the next Adriana?
Exactly. I mean, that's the problem it could create. But anyway, let's talk about the problems this episode created. Like the flashback stuff, but it was kind of filler. I mean, there was a lot of focus on Paulie, which I don't mind, but...
Yeah, I mean, not the best episode.
What did Silvio do this episode?
I mean, you could say that about a lot of episodes with Silvio. I think it was the weakest Soprano episode I've seen in a while. Maybe the weakest of season 6, to be honest.
Yeah, I'll give you a 5 out of 10.
Yeah, that's what I'm giving it as well.
See, with Silvio, it's like... They had the couple at the start of this season where he was acting boss. Felt a wee bit important. It's gone, man. I see Paulie, Bobby... Like, look how much...
I've always said that. I've always felt like Paulie, Chris...
Look how much Bobby's risen, though.
Yeah.
At the start.
I always felt like they just seem to have more stories going and more screen time than Sal.
Yeah.
Or Sil, even.
Like, and even, like, I know Fito wasn't in this episode, but, like, look at this Fito arc we've got. A lot of, beef, a lot of speculation, a lot of, like, screen time for him. I just couldn't imagine... I don't know, I made a video, like, 10 reasons why Silvio sucks. I made it ages ago, and some go, oh, how can you say Silvio... Like, see for the guy that's number 2 in the organisation, they should have got someone better. I'm not saying it's the actor's fault, but I just think they've just limited him.
There's just nothing for his character, really, when you think about it. See, honestly, if I had to compare... you know what, though? It reminds me a little bit of the Mayans MC.
Taza?
Aye. Up until probably... season 3 when they began to actually do stuff with the guy. But I remember watching Mayans MC season 1, and he's the VP. I get it, right? The president, the main character's a prospect, so maybe it's slightly different, and I can't compare it to Jax Taylor because he is the main character, but you just expect the second person in command to be a bit more important.
Yeah, I mean, Son's had other presidents, but you're totally right, and I just think The Sopranos... It hasn't had a big death in their organisation for me in a while. Like, probably since Big Sal. Like, I mean, as much as I like...
the only big death?
As much
I like Ralph, but he said more like an outsider.
As much as I like Ralph and, Tony B and guys like that, I can't sit here and turn around and say they were... I think Was Tony B bigger than Ralph? It's pretty close, but in terms of, like, the OG crew for season 1, I think Silvio could have been killed a couple of seasons ago. I just don't see the purpose of him honestly staying alive to this point because he's nothing.
Maybe they're saving all the deaths for the end.
Maybe they are, but you know what? Anyway, it's a 5 out of 10. That's it for the ride. Hopefully you enjoyed this ride. Till next time. Peace.